Bonjour, bonjour, everybody. It is Sunday, October 20th, and we are about 48 days away from Notre Dame opening. So I'm going to give you a little weekly update early on this Sunday morning, and it's pretty exciting. It's exciting every week, but it's very exciting because you can actually see inside the church right now. Let me show you. So here we are. And since I did this a week ago, 2 weeks ago. Honestly, I can't remember anything these days as far as what day of the week. But you could see that the front here is even cleaner. I could really zoom in here and show you. Basically, it's kind of the cleanup stage right now with everything out front because they're going to have to get this all ready for us to go back inside. Less than 50 days now, which is so exciting. The last time I shared a video, they had removed, they had removed the big fence. Now you have a shorter fence here in front, and we're gonna go around the side and check that out. But in this last week, they returned the furniture, as far as the furniture used on the altar, and like the altar itself and the chairs that the bishop and the priest sit in. Those have all come back in. And if you can, let's see if I could zoom in here. You can actually see right inside there. It's always hard to hold it steadier when you really zoom in, because it looks like it just goes wacky. Look at that. I mean, can't see much, but you can still see inside. And you can see all those details. So it's really exciting. It's early, just the sun just came up. And the scaffolding, what remains of the scaffolding on the building itself is basically the scaffolding they used to get up and down from the roof. They have elevators within the scaffolding and of course stairs, but that's really it. There was somebody, some people have made comments and sent me messages saying that they were here and it just looks like there's so much to get done because the outside is dirty and there's so much scaffolding, but really there's not. And also, who cares if the outside is dirty at this point? Just, I can't wait to get back inside. So there's still a lot of work. There's going to be work going on here until the end of 2027 because they're going to then have to work on the buttresses. They're going to do a bunch of work on the back side, the Chave part of the church, and then a huge amount of planting. They're going to add an additional 100 trees just up here where we are in the front and then all the way around it. But this week they also removed the braces under some of the buttresses, which was one of the very first things they did when they opened the church. Or I'm sorry, not open the church, but after the fire, because they had to protect those because the flying buttresses help distribute the weight. And if one of those goes bad and had it fallen, it would have had catastrophic effect on the church. But we're gonna go around the side and I'll show you and see what else fun things we could see. I haven't been down here all week. I have just been slammed with clients and everything else. So we're gonna go check it out now. Okay, we're here on the north side and I just was standing just a few steps away from here and I swear I could hear singing. And there's nobody milling around the church, so I don't think it's coming from inside, but it's not coming from around here. I don't see anybody in the closest church. There's no way we would be able to hear it. So I don't know if I'm just... And nobody else seems to be stopping and listening. But you can see, they fixed the fence they used to be able to last week peek in between, and now there's like a inner fence there with plastic on it so I can't peek inside. But it's looking pretty good. You could check the door. That is the door of the Virgin. You have the Last Judgment in the center, and the Saint-Anne, which is on the right. The Saint-Anne is the oldest. Parts of that, the top of it, the door, the timpana, part of that dates back to a chapel that used to be right here in its place. So that part of the door is older than some of the entire church. But let's walk along here, back up a little. It's early, they're getting everything ready. It's kind of warm. It's 50s right now, so it's not too cold. We have had a lot of rain here, but this week doesn't look too bad. They don't work on Sundays here at Notre Dame. When Viollet-le-Duc in the 19th century did his restoration, he actually went to the government and tried to lobby to allow them to let people work on Sundays because he had a tight time frame, and they refused, which of course they did. It is France after all. So the North Tower have the bells back in a few weeks ago, the 8 bells. If you watch the Olympics and the athletics, or the track and field as it's usually known in America, they had a bell there that people would ring when they won. And that bell is going to come in here into Notre Dame, which was never originally the plan. But that's going to be kind of a cool thing to do. It's actually 21 bells in Notre Dame. There's 10 in the 2 towers. And then the rest of them, some are attached to the clocks. And then you have some that go to the base of the spire. So those definitely aren't back yet. But you see the buttresses still have their braces on this side. So we'll go around and see. But here is so you can see how the scaffolding is mostly just for stairs. And of course the scaffolding up at the top as they are finishing all of the decorative elements on the roof. The top there, that's all been redone. But look at how massive this crane is. And they've moved, this one's not normally on this side. So they are attached to, like a truck. So they could just drive them to different parts. But this one is not nearly as massive as that one. Just huge. Most of these this is of course the Ile de la Cité, and most of these buildings here that align the church all were also owned. A lot of these are owned by the church and the Catholic diocese. Fun fact though, Notre Dame is actually not owned by the Catholic Church. It's owned by the state, so France owns it. So on December 7th, they'll have a massive mass, and the president is said to be there, and he will symbolically hand over the keys to Notre Dame, even though technically it's still owned by the government. But this really is the best time to come down here early in the morning, because you could get through and you could stop and you could look at everything, because otherwise it just gets so busy down here. And then this time of the year normally isn't as crazy as it is, but right now it is just massively packed with people, mostly a lot of European tourists, some American tourists, but majority is European because the different fall breaks. But it has been, the level of people in the Louvre and the other museums is like the peak summer level. What we did not have this year in the summer because of the Olympics, we are now getting. And a lot of people coming the week of Thanksgiving, American Thanksgiving. So the buttresses still have their braces on this side, but we're gonna walk down to the end and around. The south side is really, you could get very close, but the south side's great because you get back and you're on the other side of the river, and you could look up and you could really take in the whole thing. This side, you're so close, but look at, oops, sorry. You can really see all of the ornamental. And I have the new iPhone, and I figured out the zoom because it wasn't letting me zoom in very far, as far as you can on the photos, and I figured it out. And so it's amazing, the zoom capability, especially for somebody like me that's trying to capture all of these elements on buildings that are really high up. These people have been asking me if they are going to save these, and I'm sure they will. I'm not sure what they're going to do with them, but it would be amazing if they incorporated all of these into the massive Notre Dame museum that they're going to put in over the next few years in the Hotel Dieu, which is right next door. So, Messi. Very nice ladies. But it's really cool because they've been updating them as it goes. And I'm sure you could probably look through all of my old videos and find the past versions of these. And I'm sure I've taken pictures of every single one of them probably 4 or 5 times. But what's really great is like these now are all about the finishing touches that they're doing on everything. And I'll show you here. This is kind of this is what they've recently added in the altar, or the holy water font, and then the altar, and then you see the different more contemporary pieces. Not in love with it, but that's just me. But those are the pieces they've added in. The chairs, they are making 1,400 of those chairs, and they're finishing them. They will be blessed by the bishop on October 31st, and then they will be coming here to Notre Dame. They are exclusive to Notre Dame. The company that is making each and every chair they said they've had tons of requests of people wanting to buy some, but they won't sell them. They're only for Notre Dame. The organ, everything's back in. The paintings, all of this will start going in the next few weeks. Here's some bells. I love this one because it's all about the work site, and you have acoustics and metal and everything that they're doing. But I really love this one here. The Notre Dame with the heart in it. The stained glass. It's pretty exciting. And I'll go here to the corner because this is another great view. As we lose the leaves on the trees, it's actually a great time. And what I really love is January and February, because you really get to see everything in the winter because all the leaves are gone. The light in January and February is amazing. It's so gorgeous because it's so low. It just casts the most beautiful light and shadows on everything. I was trying to see. I know on the other side we'll see if they have because that where it's covered, this is where they will return the statues. So on the other side last week I noticed under the tarp some of those had been put in. But one of the last things they're going to do is the lead on the open work up there. And they'll have to put scaffolding back up there, and obviously they're not going to return the statues before that. But hopefully that's done before next month. So I'm going to cruise on down to the end. Let's see what fun things we could see. There's a great little view back here. And one thing I have shared a few times is this fantastic cross. So that cross is it is the only thing that survived the fire. So it actually, obviously, was there in that same place, and it fell because the entire roof burnt, and it was laying on the edge of the roof. And when I got here 4 days after the fire, I saw it hanging off at the edge, and I have some pictures I took of it, as great as you could get back then. But they were able to save it, and they didn't really say anything about it until it was announced that it was coming back. So they completely restored it, added some new elements on it, and it's back. So they put it back up there a few months ago, and it's pretty fantastic because it is really the only thing that survived the fire. Another thing I mentioned about adding the trees in, they're going to do a huge amount of work as well back here. So you have this little park here at the end of the island, which is where the Deportation Museum is, which is an amazing museum. It is very emotional. It is, but beautifully done. And not a lot of people go there. It's completely free. You could come in here. But this is a little square of the Ile-de-France, it's called. And so they are going to get rid of the parking here, and they're going to change it so the only way you could drive through here is emergency vehicles and delivery. But they're going to extend it out, so the park will be extended. You have the Pope John Paul II park in the back here behind. Those buildings are just kind of temporary portable pieces they put in place that have all the offices that they use for construction and the architects. But back here in the park, one thing I love, and nobody really knows this because it's not labeled on anything, and you can walk right past these things and not really realize what they are. But these are pieces that came out of Notre Dame from the building, and they were taken out by Viollet-le-Duc in the 19th century. So you have pieces here that go back to the Middle Ages when it was first constructed, right here. So it's kind of cool that you can see those. There's a park on the other side, over by Shakespeare and Company, that has other pieces in it. But it doesn't even mention that anywhere here. So it's kind of cool. So hopefully there's going to be some of those pieces that came off of this one now that could be in a park. I'm sure that it'll be in the museum. But this is a really beautiful, they have these flowers that are dedicated to the women of World War II that perished at the hands of evil. Let's just say like it is. But look, there is some beautiful red ivy. I do love some red ivy. And then you have the Pont de la Tournelle there, and you have my girl, Saint-Geneviève, guarding the city. And of course, the Tour d'Argent, and this L'Île Saint-Louis. But the sun isn't too bad, even though we've had some pretty rainy days. The turtle is back. The turtle is my marker here. So there's this bronze turtle. He's just barely back. Derriere, as my grandma would say, is just about touching the water. But it's this beautiful little park. But the Deportation Museum really is something that is a beautiful, beautiful, somber place, but definitely something I recommend people go and visit and see, because it's really something that shouldn't be forgotten. But again, it's free. Nobody really goes in there. It's kind of hidden away here, but you know what used to be here? What used to be here was the city morgue. And at a time during the 19th century, even 18th century, it was quite the thing to do. They would put bodies in the window, and you could come down here and see, check out the bodies. It was like the thing to do on a Saturday night, a little morbid. But I bet another thing you might not realize, but have you ever taken a CPR class? And there's Anatomical Annie, remember that? And you have to, give her the pumps on her chest and give her breath. That face of Anatomical Annie is a woman of the Seine, and it was a woman that was found in the Seine, and we don't know who she is, but because her face, and it was another thing that was put on display here at the morgue in the window, that face, they made a mask of it, and that is Anatomical Annie. So when you do CPR classes, that's her. Pretty crazy, huh? A little morbid as well, but I guess she'd kind of have to look like somebody. But let's go check out the other end, the south side here, on this lovely Sunday morning. Right now I'm on the south side, and I do see that first buttress. Do you see the brace is gone? And they've now covered what you see in white is where they will put the statues. So here on this side, that's all getting into place. They have something set up here along the Buccaneers. There's no signs, and it's too much for a filming, so I'm not sure what's happening. They are starting to announce when all the Christmas villages will open. The one that is in the little garden opposite Notre Dame, here on the left bank, will be a week longer this year, so it's opening up earlier. So you could see. And I do believe, so that's what, that whole little portable units over there. Last week, the last video I made, they were pouring cement. And so they had all the cement trucks here at the end of the island. They were bringing them in here back to that place. So they must have been pouring a cement pad to set all of those up. Because last week, I noticed it was the first time we really could see the building. And now, this week, there's huge portable units there. So maybe that means they're gonna take all of these down soon. Because they definitely have less workers. They only have, I've seen 500 to 600, depending on where you find your information. But this is all new here. And then they've moved some more of these containers to the back as well, that you put on the back of a semi-truck. So some of those are here. So hopefully this does mean that maybe those big ones in the back will come down soon. Can't really see the clocks yet. There's 4 clocks behind, kind of right in between where you see this little pinnacle and the white tarp. They're on pretty much that position on each of the transepts. So there's 4 clocks. See if we can see it on the other side. But look at how great it looks. So exciting. You could really see in here. I'm going to a conference in a couple weeks about the stained glass by Viollet-le-Duc, what he did restoring everything, and this window specifically, and check out some of my past videos where I tell you about how he changed those, and how on this side about 80% of it is 12th century and the rest he updated a little because he reinforced it. It's a lovely fall day here in Paris. I hope it is wherever you guys are watching from. Or maybe it's even spring or summer by the time you're watching this. But I love coming down here, and I love sharing all the updates on how she's doing. And it really is exciting because it's changing so rapidly here. Couple was talking about how they could come back for the opening of Notre Dame. I have a few clients, oh, here's one that's open, that are coming at the end of November and leaving just a week before. Oh, this is all fruit, preserved, dried fruit. apricots, yum. Pineapple. We had, when I was a kid, we had one of those dehydrators, and it was like a big box. And it was, I believe it was that horrible 70s avocado green. Oh, there's the fireman boat. And my mom would dehydrate things all the time, like pineapples and fruit, and I loved it. I love that stuff. So, and I do love, especially the apricots are so yummy. But I think that was this thing in the 70s, dehydrating your own fruit. But I loved it. Yeah, so none of that was there last week. And you could see more of this has been cleaned and replaced along here. Last week it was only 1 or 2 portions, and now it goes all the way across. Just the camera on the new iPhone is just so amazing. Still can't really see the clock. So let's pop over to the other side. Okay, I can see more of the clock. Here we're on the southwest side. So look at, it's the most visible of all of the clocks. But also, more of the buttress braces are gone on this side. How cool is that? I'll tell you what, I would not have thought 5 years ago, in the moments after the fire, that we would be at this point. What seems so quickly did not seem quick. 2024 seemed like a very long time. But here we are. She's looking great. All right, I hope you guys all have a wonderful rest of your day and enjoyed this little sneaky peek here. I will, of course, be doing plenty of tours of the history and inside of Notre Dame this next year. So if you're coming to Paris, definitely reach out. It's already getting quite busy December and January. And so I can't wait to share the inside with everybody too. All right, have a wonderful Sunday. Make sure you subscribe and like this video. And also don't forget to check out the podcast every Monday. Be a little turnaround view of Paris on this fall morning. There you go. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Okay, wait, I'm back. I just walked to this side, and it's the first time in a very long time that you could see this close to this side of the church, because all of those containers have moved. So you can really see in that door of Saint-Anne. And really get a great view of the church from this side, because the fence is also shorter over here as well.